notification. Let's see. Nothing yet. Getting there. There we go. Lovely. Hello, hello.
Hold on 1 second here.
Okay, there we go. Hi, guys.
Okay, I'm just hitting in here
Mm-hmm.
until we find out. Go chat.
Hello, hello. Cheers.
What are you drinking?
Juice. Just juice.
Cherry. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be surprised what we're gonna talk about tonight because I was just like,
Hey. And of course, Smokey came to join. Hello.
yes. Look, your sweatshirt. Is that a Jeep?
It's the symbol, yes.
Michelle came to the
I do
office
not.
today and she's like, she's got a Jeep too, and she's like,
Ah.
she's got a nice blue one though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's like,
Okay.
yeah. So first of all, I want to go into a subject of what the hell's up with this energy, the timeline. I don't like this timeline
Right.
because it does not feel futuristic. It feels like moving back, holding us in a stasis
Mm-hmm.
again, and there's no door. We're sitting in a stagnated situation all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to put these questions out to spirit tonight because I think sometime, at this point, we're like, stop. We're good. We're done. You know. So I wonder in the chat how people are feeling today, and if you're feeling like the way me and Jeep are feeling, and verified from others from 3 o'clock on that it's not a great energy.
Right.
And that's the thing is, and I'm not being negative. What I am is just verifying that I don't think we're moving. And I think the morning of the election, which was great energy and all that stuff, as a verification, because we were expecting somehow in some way to get our ass kicked and ready to gear up on war and going, and that didn't happen. So then it was great in that way. But the thing was, where are we on the timeline?
True.
That's the thing that we just want to move. Yes, PTSD. Yes, those feelings and anxiety and just it's moving in the wrong direction again, and we don't want that.
Right.
So they're confirming. So,
Well, some are saying they're on a good timeline. I'm happy that they are for them,
yes,
as long as they're good and comfortable. Okay,
yeah.
Moki's on her own timeline.
Yes. So we're not. And I've talked to Kim from Texas and all that stuff. She's kind of feeling different. So I don't know if people are feeling it different in different states or different stasis, but and then as what you can hear, that's the thing. It feels like there's always a buzzing, but it's a different buzzing, constantly going in the ear.
Yeah.
And that's where we talked about all these distractions that they put in front of us, and then all of a sudden, like if you can get away with meditation and do things, you might as well take advantage of it in that hour and at that time, because the next day you don't know where that timeline's going to be.
Right.
Now, the thing that's positive this week is the fact that the results came out the way they need to. They needed to. But I'm wondering if they're showing you 2020 election.
I didn't think of that.
Just wondering about that. Because everything came in pretty fast. It's like they already knew where we're going on things. And then there was no resistance upon the resistance. It wasn't strong enough for what you expected, what we all expected. So something's not right. Where are we? Where are we going from here? And when that quote where they're talking about how things could happen overnight. What happened to the night election? When we all went to bed. I'm just saying, what happened? Yes, sluggish. And honestly, deep in my soul, your soul, I'll take the door over everything right now. Just the door to move it, the door to be relieved, the door to freshness, the door to balance. And I'm talking about the whole collective together. We're tired of staying in a stagnated situation. So for recognizing what will happen is that sun, the real one, the real light, golden, the real yellowish light. I mean, what do you feel? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, we need the golden sun, the real sun. That fake one, right? And I don't want to be out in the daytime. I don't want to do anything. And again, with all this other stuff going on, everything moved and then everything stopped. It seemed like things are moving fast, but then they're not.
And what people said, it was too quiet. Why is it so quiet? What happened? And no one said anything, but I'm thinking, what did happen overnight, on that timeline or where we're at on things. So that's the whole thing about it is, and I'm telling you, when I have Spirit push a direction in where we're at on if it's moving, if it's not, it's only that. I mean, just feels like if you look up and do any type of downloading day, it's like way up there today instead of right here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something that's changed. And so I kind of have to pull back and analyze things a little more, because usually when spirit does that, there's something they don't want you to see. They don't want you to observe. They don't need us to know everything, but we then get us through the door,
Right.
put us in there, and let us have that peace right there. Just leave us there. We're good.
I know.
Just give us some fresh air and we'll be fine.
Right. Maybe a little bit of sleep.
I don't think it's ever going to happen again.
I don't know. Uh,
I think that's a long time ago.
yeah. Or that feeling
Cool.
that we really don't need it.
Right.
It's okay if we don't have it if we don't really need it. But
Because we're in stasis. That's all we feel like we're doing, is sitting in stasis in a circle motion. So we after my well, I've done, Sherry's like, asked my frequency. So it's not I've done all that. I've done all that stuff. That constant feeling, but it almost feels like it's been pushed back in time. Like I feel like I'm in 1987 again. That's the way it feels.
right.
Something's not right about it. And you know how we got messed with on looking at certain times in history, and then like, no, we've seen that before. No, now it's gone.
Right.
So is there going to be something that's going to be significant that's changing? Because everybody that I talk to and people in the group, and maybe Sherry will confirm that too, that time is slipping in our conscience.
Right.
I mean, people are like, I can't grasp time anymore and I can't hold on to it, where it feels like it was completely programmed into us. It was a different structure. And now it's elusive. It's not holding its position anymore with us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there were times before when you wonder what day it is, but now it's like during the day, what time is it? Honestly.
Well, yesterday, it felt like it took, the evening it took forever to get through each moment. And it wasn't, a bad situation or anything. It was just like, why does it feel like it's taking forever?
Right.
And so you have to look back and go, what's going on? What is changing? And it's almost like the realness of it. And I mean, in the way that we're adapting to things we have to look at things in a daily event, because it changes. It can change by the hour. It can change by the day. No one at this point thinks you can get up in the morning and it's going to be the same day. We already know. No, we don't know.
The only thing that's the same is that it's weird. Everything's weird.
Yes.
It's different. It's nothing's the same. It's just always changing.
But I'm sure in different parts of the world, it's affecting people different. So I'm wondering,
maybe,
how things are changing in a different way. So it's just something I want to talk about this, because, once we're going through something like that, people don't talk about it, and then they're just sitting there, they're trying to deal with it, and then they can't talk to people around them, because they'll look at you. Well, we don't know what timelines are. What are you talking about? It's the same time. No, it's not. This is feeling totally different.
Right.
So that kind of shows you that things are never going to stay the same anymore.
And then you wonder where's it really going to end up?
And then the
Because it's just
dogs, all they want to
confused,
do is sleep through it.
right? Or cry, according to mine.
But all we can, be an easier way to do it.
Right.
So it's not, that I'm trying to figure out why it's changed and why there's no realness behind it and why it feels so old, its timeline. So all this activity now that's happening, like I said, are we going back?
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm wondering. Trying to analyze it and just
Good
figure it
question.
out. We can ask. Okay, we can go
You
over
want to
some
answer some
questions.
questions? Let's
Yes. See, we can't even talk today.
We can't. It's just hard.
It's gone. I thought just blah.
Uh,
Just saying.
yeah. Fireworks says at 3 o'clock. Both her and the roommate. So it was around 6. Well, we hit 3 o'clock and we were just having all these kinds of things happening, weren't we?
Yeah, we were feeling it, and we were wondering because how do you look at that in that way? It doesn't. It's not moving in a flow situation. We feel like we're getting these shock treatments, and then the soul is not balanced or feels comfortable being in it
Right.
because your intuition's telling you, are you where you're supposed to be? Did they put you somewhere else? Are you in a repeated process for a while? Or they put you in a holding pattern? So it's not mainly I'm upset. And I am telling people we want to move on.
Mm-hmm. Right. Keep moving. Let's see. Just got something about memories. Hold on. The chat is moving quick, guys. And it's hard to keep up today. It
I
really is.
know.
Can't
That's what I'm
talk or
saying.
think.
The
Right
brain
there.
is like, there it
Oh, see,
is.
so if that's the case, will it affect our memories?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it's already starting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's losing
Feels
its
like it.
realness on the situation.
Rachel says, I thought yesterday maybe I'm going backwards. That's what it feels like. Is the tiredness due to the time change?
I don't think that matters. I mean, that's made by man, and of doing that. Yeah, it's getting darker, but boy, are we holding a slot we don't want to be in.
Right.
I wonder if everybody else's dog is just sleeping through this too, or cats.
Mm-hmm.
I'd wonder what the wild kingdom is reacting on this process too.
Right. Nancy's memory is glitching bad. I'm with you there, Nancy. Someone's asking about the Netherlands. Will it be worse at the Netherlands?
As the energy?
I don't know.
From
Could just be everything in general.
everybody thinks they got dementia. That's what I'm saying.
How I'm feeling today.
Maybe this is the process they want. That flash, 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 and then they're just going to go flash. Yeah, I can imagine the.
Maybe that is it. We're getting small flashes. We don't even know it.
Right, exactly.
We're getting everything.
And we're going into stasis at night. We're not getting sleep. So
Right.
that's the whole thing. And I'm telling you, that alpha brain's probably going off. Everybody's buying it because they're just like, what's going on with my memory? This stuff usually works pretty fast. I started using the True Brain too.
Oh yeah. I tried that. It didn't work for me. But...
I take it in coffee and just slug it down one.
So here's a question: Do you think we'll still see the military on the stage?
Yes, and I also think when they said, and I saw a quote that says, "We're done." We're done to me means you're going to see a presence of the military come back. So that means they're, and I think I was hearing that in my voice the other day. Okay, we got things to a certain point, and now we can take care of where the main area needs to be done, which is in the United States. Start rolling things out. I got to tell you that most people, have been built up their whole life and the way they see things to build up to this time. And I mean, they're ready for some action. And then I think the day after the election, they are like, it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now they have to be guarded in a different way to see if some other situation occurs too. So I think there's key pieces of individual are setting the platform for the council and positioning themselves exactly where they need to be. I know everybody will be very happy to take off these masks that they're wearing and burn them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And I'm talking about the silicone ones they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just when I feel stuff like this, you, as a collective, you want to see where things are going and how we're all feeling in this energy that we're partaking in. But okay, so we go for more questions. Sorry.
It's okay. It's how we're all just in this weird little tizzy today. This isn't exactly a question, but it's the power is out in Charlotte, North Carolina. No one knows why. There's no internet. They've also been tired today and have not been in a good mood.
How long? I wonder how long the internet's it's been down.
I think it was just today that someone else mentioned in group that there's North Carolina and it had just gone down. Could be these rolling outages maybe, so that they're doing what they need to do. Possibly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Where they hit resistance, where they know where they're at, and then you're going to see it shut down, and then it'll turn back on. That's the thing about this. The dark days and all that stuff. I don't think it was ever for us.
Right. Okay. Another question: do you think the Brunson case will overturn 2020 election?
Yes. Okay. I think they're gonna eventually just show that because I already think we're seeing it on the screen. I also think the Fox News, as in they're saying Trump, not Trump, but Elon Musk bought it, which I believe that we the people, and I think they're setting the stage for the show to start on that channel.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something else that I saw that they were saying he bought today, and I'm just like,
I think they said Ford.
Yes, Ford.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Right.
Ford. if you're a farmer, if you're a person, then they're usually that's very loyal to Ford. Um, so that kind of tells me, you know, the brand where they're going to take it to.
Mhm.
Or again, all the CEOs had to, what they had to do, they had to step down.
Mhm.
And so I'm just saying,
Right.
I don't know. I think Shepard's already in office actively already. They're gearing up, and
Right.
they can't leave the country. So
You think there'll still be an EBS, or you still think that's
rolling.
rolling?
I think it's just rolling. Yeah, I think they're pushing everything that's going towards a direction of futuristic. Ford would be
Mhm.
a name brand like that. And like you got your media, and now you got your manufacturing for futuristic.
Mhm.
And there was something else that I saw. The replicators. I saw something future on that, and that's what I've always said about or be in the home pods. We don't need
Mhm.
anything. Um, and that would be nice to see that. I'm really excited about technology moving fast,
Right.
completely. You know, and I maybe it's gonna be even hard for us to catch up. How fast that technology is coming out.
Especially if we can't remember anything. That just
That's what I'm
makes it
saying.
worse.
I don't know if it's a pin they're gonna show us, but I think we're already
Something's going
tapping
on.
out. But makes you wonder, um, which I call the normal 3D people,
Mhm.
um, just trying to keep things together and all that stuff. I'm gonna tell you, the truthers are taking over TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's at first when it started, now it's like they're taking over, which is
Mhm.
a great thing. Um, but in a different way because you can't deny it, you can't debate it anymore. All those before the election, or I think it's a 2020 election,
Yep.
were all up there, and now it's quiet. It's very quiet,
Everything's quiet. It's crazy.
quiet. You know, yeah.
Um, Here's a question: is the Nicera Jacera something that happens after the fog, and people are
Before,
in density,
before,
or it'll be before? Okay.
yeah, it has to be. You don't want to put people in a situation in their homes where they're stressed about paying their bills or being kicked out or that. If that
Mhm.
process would be done so much easier if they don't, that's something they don't have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? They're just in a
Yep.
calm process because, like, we don't have to worry about this. There's nothing that they can do. So, um, changing the economy to where I was listening to a video. I think she's in the group somewhere. And uh, so one of the gals sent me a video on JFK Jr. today and talking about getting paid back 10 years of taxes. 10
Oh wow.
years. Um, and just a lot of information on there on and confirmed again that we own everything.
Mhm.
Everything. So whatever is put in front It doesn't mean, that has the actual ownership to that. I just feel like you're going to be surprised on that end of things.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know what's going on with Wolverine in those states.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
saw that with the sorrow was still happening. I'm going to say this. I live in North Dakota. And one of the biggest things that was going on here was the oil fields. So I'm expecting those floodgates that are going to open up and they're going to put those in process again. However, let me grab this real quick. However, they're trying to use that. I'm wondering about what they're going to change as we advance into the future, what we are going to use and what we're not. But I guarantee you, employment and getting us back to doing that again, and I mean in the way of not shutting down these corporations that were flourished before in 2016 when they started doing that, and getting back to that process again. So it's almost like turning on the lights again. And I don't tell you it's not going to be a slow process. I can tell you right now, as everybody knows, it's already happening. You're going to start seeing stuff. They're already moving. Now, I have to go on X, but he just hired a new administrator. It was a female. And I hear she is
Yes, Sarah something.
Yeah, it doesn't take any crap on any process, anything. And that's going to be interesting when you get a person in that type of mind frame to go and clean up the mess in a very fast way. So don't be looking to waiting for January for this mess to start getting cleaned up. This is what I see. Basically, as this skit ends out, all abandonment of the Democratic Party in the House is just going to just fall to the side.
Okay.
Period. So, everybody thinks it's in January, and I'm like, I don't know. Just there might be try to play out some type of initiation there, but they're already surfacing in a control way that they can already start doing it. Because I guarantee you they're not waiting. And then, what is it? The New York attorney that was going after Trump before, and his attorney threatened her, Trump's attorney. So, I mean, and we all know where she's at. So all this weakness, it's pretty weak. It's pretty really low key. It's not like it was before. I mean, 2016 was like some major mudslinging, because Spirit at that time, when they gave you assignment, like getting on Twitter was like slinging mud every damn hour and getting back on there and fighting again. It was horrific. So look at that resistance and look at the weakness of it. That kind of tells you how things are.
Right.
And then they're actually talking about who's related to who and who's actually involved.
And that's kind of crazy.
Yes. You want to talk about that?
Oh, about everybody
Candace.
Oh, I don't remember all the names now. Oh my gosh. See, now
Candace
I see. I
Owen.
can't remember.
See, Candace,
I
and
can't
then
remember
and it's Terrence too. They're both related to.
that. I don't know. You're gonna. Sorry. See, this is bad. Can't remember anything. This is
Hold
awful.
on. He's related to, huh? I think was it Martin Luther King, or was it was one of them?
Yeah.
I mean, no, they're gonna be like, God, you guys are bad tonight.
Yeah, we're having a tough night here.
Collapse. Hold on. Watch everybody in the group. No, let's go.
Well, if anybody
Hold on.
knows, feel free to put it in the chat.
Because if you
One of those
look at
evenings.
him, huh?
It's one of those evenings.
Yes, it is. We need a left brainer tonight.
Oh,
I'm just saying. Oh my gosh. Okay. But anyway, all these people that are actually related to the ones
mhm,
that are helping with the situation, um, um, it's going to start to show evidence. And I know that they're hearing MJ appearance is supposed to be coming soon.
that'll be good.
The Netherlands. Cool. I'll have to find it while you're. Um, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
things are changing. And so who we think um, those characters are, and then they find out they're completely family in a different way. Um, so it's going to be interesting. And who's wearing these masks and who's all working together in a different way. I
Mhm.
just, for some reason, because I'm asking for this, I can't see it.
Right, of course.
But they do have a picture of Trump with a hat on. But who's behind the veil of Trump is the question. So that's going to be interesting.
Right.
Huh? Did you
Can
cut
you hear
out?
me?
Yeah, I can
I
hear
cut
you.
out a second. Yeah. Something cut out.
I'm gonna get back in here.
Great. See, even the electronics don't want to work.
I'm telling you, they're gonna think,
It's,
what is up with Jeep and Jen? What a bit.
seriously. It's been one of those weird days.
Grandfather, yeah. So it was one of the grandfather. Candace Owens related to Martin Luther King. So okay, I was right about that. So let's like holy hell that pride. Um so and then Terrence, he's a truther, and that's another one supposed to be related to him. So all these family members that are taking care of each other, and um, that's going to be interesting to listen to that too.
Right. Oh, Candace Owens looks like Jackie Kennedy.
Really?
She calls herself Candace O on YouTube. I didn't even know she was on YouTube. Okay.
I always see her next. Yeah, I know Trump and Elvis are cousins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when all of this comes out of all the different people that are related to each other.
Mm-hmm.
The negative, the not so negative.
Well,
Do you
you
think?
do have some families that were born into a negative situation, a negative family,
Mm-hmm.
and then they did choose to do the right thing, and then were convicted on that and ridiculed in that. So you're going to see that too
Right.
when that happens, which is one of the key chess pieces that are coming out. Because she chose not to uh, dive in or hurt children in any way and wanted to protect them.
Right.
So I would say that lower kingdom is dismantled. She was always going to take them out.
Yeah. Good.
So there's a lot of things going on with that too. So that's one thing, the identification of people. So I want to talk about what I've seen too is the timeline, not timelines, but guidelines that I've talked about, that there has to be a guideline out. They can't just give you a bunch of money and then everybody goes crazy. And then those guidelines of set forth what you can do, what you can't do.
Right.
Is your dog?
My cat. It's the zoo. It's the zoo. It's actually my son's cat. Okay.
The guidelines that they're going to be posting out there, you know, we have to go by some type of structure to implement, because you can't go out and buy 1,000 cars, you know what I'm saying? And because you give people money and that's what they think that you do. So there's a balance with everything. I believe with all the banks I believe that all fell apart 3-4 months ago when they had to have a certain percentage that they had to back up. So all the ones that you see that are around now, I think most of them had to agree to do the right thing.
Right. So they all complied and
they'll eventually be, the names and the titles will be all dismantled anyway. Where are those bankers? It's a nice island.
Right.
So
we did have a question if at the time when all these masks do come off, is that going to be finally the end of the show?
Yes, I really hope with the Joe Biden one, they really hit that over the fence on. How obvious it was on every process of that. Yes, so that would be one.
That one hasn't been seen lately, correct? Yeah, he hasn't been around.
No, he's kind of went in that nursing home, that mask nursing home, and has never returned. So I don't know. All I see is a shit-eating grin. You know, it's pretty bad when they have to make you look like you've been shitting your pants and you're supposed to be a country leader. I'm just saying that's just, you don't get it. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. But but you have a society out there deciding to shave their heads now.
Yeah, that's interesting. But
yes. So just because they don't get it their way. So that's just not mature. I've never thought of T-Light about remote viewing that area.
Right. I
think I'd probably be in trouble.
Maybe.
If I did that.
Like calling
I don't think
he's not here right now.
She's indisposed.
I
don't think. Okay.
Someone said, okay, we have a few more questions. Someone posted before, I didn't get to it, but they're asking, do you know if the public schools will be shut down soon until they can be more holistic?
I think so, and I think in the video that someone sent me on Facebook, they talked about that whole dismantling of that. There are some true educators that wanted to educate, did not want to go with the program, and those are ones that are going to be able to step up to a certain degree. But I think we're going to give them a choice with. But this is the thing: the education has to adapt to each individual's conscience and ability, not to the same old crud that they put out there. So I think, again, future technology is bringing in the advancement of being able to tune that in better. And so, as I've always talked about the blue coiled children, this advancement of higher understanding of these children. So our future of the kids are completely different. And I also believe that these kids that are being born now are very intuitive. So that's changing too.
Right.
So we were talking about certain days we're given a warning out to step down.
Yes, some
And
in that warning.
those are on all those societies and all those corporations, and they all know who they are. They already know, because this is what I'm thinking. After the election, after that, they know those results are not going to change. I'd be thinking, I got to pack my bags and get the hell out of here, because this ain't going to change. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're occupied with leaving, hiding, wearing their own mask, their own disguises now. And I think what they said is when they find out everything, they're going to track them down. And it's not just it's in the cities. It's in corner, because the whole process of what has happened is there's that reaction inside, that's that instinct that tells you that you know what the truth is. And you're visualizing, you're seeing it, and that has to sit in your soul for a while. And then you come to that reality just like you do with any truth. And then you get upset. And then you get mad because you were lied to.
Right.
Well, guess what? There's a lot of people are going to take it upon themselves to handle it a different situation. And they know it. And I'm just saying that in the way where we are.
Yeah, I'm sure those individuals who are trying to take off, and they're probably going to have to hide somewhere in the United States, because then they'll be found. They won't be able to leave. Unless, the military is taking them somewhere. That's the only way they're going to leave.
So making one phone call, knowing they have it. So they already know.
Yep.
They're not like, they know where. And that's where I see the outages again. Because they're going in, pulling them. I mean, if you want to look at some of the stuff that's happening in the daytime, just in the daytime with these, you can call them SWAT teams or whatever. They get in, they get out, and they get done what they need to do, and then they're without being seen sometimes. So it's going to be the same thing. And then I'm sure they're going to do this at night too, in a different way, in bigger groups. So they're trained for this stuff.
Right.
And they went through extensive training that's going to happen. So,
okay. Someone's asking about the autistic children, I guess, with the education. And
they're going to be adapted to their higher conscience, which I think that those kids like that, they are adapted to a level of understanding that they want to be in. And because we don't understand it, and that we have analyzed it and decided that they're not normal, but it's because it has to do with the conscience of understanding them. And if we reach with the higher technology into that conscience and pull them back out and let them express and show you what they can do. I think it's kids like that, um, Down syndrome kids too. They're in their own zone, and just because society tells them what they need to be doesn't mean the spirit is going to abide by that. And I think you're going to be surprised in that situation. So I believe that advancement in technology, that whole thing, another thing that's flipped around, it's going to be interesting when that comes out. I'm going to be interesting to watch that one.
Oh yeah. You know, there was a question on the technology of what you thought the first new type of technology would be coming out.
So I talked about these TVs that you feel like that are completely different. You know, they're already virtual, but walking in it and then taking it to another level. What do you think, like the replicators? Right? What that takes to get there. To go that real.
I know, huh? Very distant.
So that and the medical field, I think whatever advancement they're going to do in that area is going to be pretty advanced too already. So I think that's going to be a great process. And then travel. I already said that the planes are going to be null and void. Airports null and void. You don't need them.
Right.
But I do believe there's a futuristic type of trains that work in a different way. That's going to be pretty cool technology. Cars in the way that you think that they're cars, you know, drone advancement in a bigger way of Spirit showed me a long time ago, right now, of stealing, doing anything, lying, and then that way of it senses everything what you're doing, and it's not the old process where they're trying to contain and control you. This literally is a sense of knowing. So it would make society in a fairness if there's a higher conscience of the light that is in charge of that, so that those true intentions are there. And if there is a process where it is unfairness, reject, deny, and figure it out, or you get nothing. And that is not in the old timeline type of process. I saw that a long time ago. They showed me how that fairness would work on that. So this is what I don't know. I don't know about sleep anymore.
It seems non-existent.
Well, it is already.
Yeah.
And the whole bedrooms. You know, I wouldn't mind, you know, when you're seeing these type of pods going into a conscience of relaxation, advancement, how our brains are really going to function in a restful state, because sleep does not literally get us where we think it gets us. So are we going into higher technology where you have a type of sleeping pod that you go into, and does it recharge? Does it rejuvenate, which they want to use another word for? When we go into stasis, because I've seen it on channeling this information on the other side, and they were specific on 25 on a corridor here, pause, and 25 here, and they're not completely laid down, they're teetered up, and you're putting this in a stasis. And I keep hearing the stasis part of it is a different rejuvenation and all of that process of that. So that's what's going to be interesting. Well, because you think about it, How long have we had beds? How long have we been sleeping? How many people just do not? It's useless time. 8 hours. Supposed
Mm-hmm.
to what toss and turn half the
Some people
time.
get more. Yeah.
Way some of us don't get any.
Yeah, it's true. Or we used to get some.
So
Now we don't get any.
so if we're going to look at higher technology on that, you're, how our conscience is functioning and how we use a certain percentage. Well, I can't even say that that's a fact anymore on anything. Of how we function, what parts of our conscience we use, how much sleep we really need in that stasis. That's going to be interesting. Look at the areas in your home, so like your bedroom. Then how things are as we're going down this road of technology. The kitchen area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything is, like I said, replicas that I think is going to happen. We're not going to have to do the process. You're not going to have a big whole process of going through that process of food and the way they do it and everything. It's not going to be as complicated. Like I said, I was talking to you yesterday. I had to go to a big event yesterday, and everybody's eating all this food and all this stuff, and my whole gut's going, I ain't touching that. And it's just because once your gut has recognized you won't tap into that stuff anymore, and the sugar's not in there, and all those deposits, it's not feeding off those. But the whole process, that's the way I felt my body did. And I just look at the thickness of it and how, like, ugh, nope. It's just, you could feel it different,
Right.
So we keep to light stuff and not heavy stuff in that area. So
at this point, you think that that type for people who are moving forward in that timeline that way, as we get to lighter and lighter food, we get to that point where you don't need it.
Right.
It'll just turn to a liquid, and then eventually we won't need that either.
And that's the truth, because me and you kind of eat the same way, and people are like, "How are you surviving?" It's just working, functioning in, and the biggest thing is, you take away something that your body no longer needs on your own. You figure that out, but whatever that is, but I mean, for ourselves, this is our own experience of going through this process. And I'm not starving. You're not starving.
No.
But
I'm sure once it gets to a point where pretty much everybody gets to go through the pods or whatever, and then everyone's going to be on the same level for everything.
Right.
And obviously, a lot of stuff's not going to be needed anymore.
But our minds, when we start that journey, this is what gets triggered, because it's used to getting that. And then when you detox yourself from that, and there's a certain pace you put in your system that helps you do that. And once you do that, then you can feel it right away, and then you stay on that pattern.
Right.
So, I mean, each person has to make that choice on their own with how they're helping and rejuvenate their system. So
they still get the choice. Not like they're forced.
Listening to yourself, listening to your gut instinct, listening to what's not good for you, and we're not doctors, so we just go by what we've been experienced on our own. So yeah.
Ricardo was saying there was an Old World magazine that showed stasis pods and a spray machine with aether elixir to rejuvenate youth of the body and remove sleep. An Old World magazine.
Well, I just think we're going there anyway.
Mhm.
Can you imagine all the time we can do more with?
I know, huh? Uh,
You know, just saying. And then,
someone asked if the Schumann resonance can affect their sleep.
oh, I think so. But I think the pyramids, the ley lines, and when they started talking about one that was coming online, the buzz of that whole
Mhm.
breathing in a different way,
Yeah.
coming online, and like a lot, like I said, a lot of us are like these circuit boards, daily circuit boards, and then you get,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of arrests are happening in Los Angeles. Oh, good.
It's good that people can actually see them going on.
Right.
They
Exactly.
need to see it.
Um, so okay, so we're talking about the um, okay. So this is something. So all that um, stuff that he put in front of us before. You remember when you were young and potatoes tasted like potatoes and turkey tasted like turkey. It was, all that, well, that realness, because some people
Mhm.
really like to eat food and they like the taste of it and all that stuff. So I'm the realness of that, you know, uh, things that are green and the colors that come in, because I think that everything's dull in the colors. And I mean, I wasn't impressed by tomatoes this summer, of whatever they were.
You mean you didn't get the rubber version? The tomatoes? Oh,
Scary.
yeah, that was
It was
scary.
too scary.
Uh,
Um,
Someone's asking if you see a second election do-over.
so I
Do you
think
think
that
it'll
one was 2020. I don't think it was like again.
happen? Mhm.
And I had to go back to my prediction, and it said, because I was thinking about this weekend, right? We were pretty sure at that time, they were that time when how it happened. And they weren't bending on that. Um, so so what are we back in time, and or are we going into advancement of the future? Where are we
Mhm.
going?
Right.
When are we going? I mean, I can talk about these people that have been um, dealing with the whole process and having the knowledge,
Mhm.
uh, and the military doesn't leak out anything on those secret projects like that. I don't care who they work for or what they say, unless they're bought, paid off. They're not going to give you any information, um, and they shouldn't, honestly, um, to make sure that everything's successful. So, um, with this whole change and everything, okay. So let me go through a list of people on the truthers. Um, Lady Di, you know,
Mhm.
is important, and there's one that's very important, and I'm gonna to say her name is big, and I don't mention her.
Mhm.
Um, because it's personal. Because I've seen it on a different understanding. And what we've been taught and told, what the negative does is they take a positive person, because they don't go by those rules and ethics that they were supposed to be born into, and make that choice, and they choose to listen to their instinct, and they're guided consciously. So when that is not chosen the right way, I want you guys to listen to Stairway to Heaven. Okay? And this was a hard one to talk about because I've seen the being in many ways. And you can listen to that song in a different way completely. And don't be surprised in the eyes of the lightness that you see in the White House of that being appear, because those were choices of free will she could have made. So, what a burden to carry.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to get emotional on that one.
Okay.
So there's a lot of players, JFK Jr., which amazing soul, and whatever form. I think he's very good at the masks. He's been probably right in front of their faces many times, right up their ass, and hello, I'm right here. I think there's been many people that have been playing that part, and I always say, like Elon Musk and whoever's playing that part, is they're ahead of the game. They're ahead of the chess game. They're way ahead of the process of that. And I always say those light vessels, whatever light vessels within them, that is where it is important on that process. So there's been people that have been in the background for years and years and years and years, just waiting for this moment. Sorry. Dry. The Yeshuas. The noble workers.
Mm-hmm.
There's many that's out there, because you see them doing it every day, and it's like oxygen to them to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. So I think, as I said, the Spirit says it'll bring you to your knees. All what they've all done, and how much dedication they gave up, their life they gave up to get it, to complete the mission, to save the most innocent thing on this planet, in this universe. And I'm telling you, the ones that are driving around the great Ferraris and buying the big houses, and the Spirit says, we give you what you need. That's the requirement. That's it. That's all you need. What's to provide for you. Overly indulging would not be in that concept, would not be in that conscience.
Oh, we're not going to need it anymore.
Okay, look at John Jr. When they had him on, look how he lived. He wasn't overly indulging in anything. Very balanced, content. You didn't, not sitting there with name brands and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's the conscience of what's the priority. Um, as I say this again, I mean, you can give me $100 million, and all I need is a cabin in the woods, being content.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else. That's it. You don't need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, there's people that get it, and there's people that don't. And the people that keep recycling that and thinking the bigger items it's going to pay off. It's not, because it has to do with your soul feeling content and peaceful at that. And there's a group of us that would just want to get in RVs and travel everywhere and be content with that.
Mm-hmm.
It really does have to do with the soul.
Right. Right.
And it has to do with what humanity, what is required that we need. Basics. And now that that's changing, we're getting that. We're going to get that. So there's a calmness that comes in with society. There's a calmness that changes that on our plane of our world, that soothes that, you know. Then you reflect and you're like, what can I do for my heart to make me feel good about helping someone else, or helping the humanity project that is legit. You don't need to fill out no damn form or give anybody else any of that information. They already know.
Mm-hmm.
So Pascal, sorry. Yes, that's another one. Axel.
Right. It's funny.
Yeah. It was a long time ago when it was referring to Yeshua, and this is the one that I always call it Jesus weed.
Right.
It's the vision. And so he reminds me of the whole process of, don't be surprised as he's on the gatekeeper side of that going, wait a minute.
Right.
Because I really believe that has to do with making things, our material of our clothes, all many things with them, and the abundance of what it does to our system and how it helps us to. So I wouldn't be surprised he's a gatekeeper for that. You know, a happy guy. You know, I'm just saying. So on our planet, on the things that we need, if we did the work we should have done 150 years ago, we really would be a different process, and none of us would be in pain.
Right. Someone's asking what happened to Gail. Gail's in the process of moving.
Gail is moving, and she is traveling, and her heart is a person of when the spirit tells her to go, she goes.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll let us know. She'll pop up like she always does and go, "Hey, I made it," you know. So that's what I believe that's going to happen. So
right,
she's just just made a compassionate choice to say, "I'm done here. I'm moving on."
Yeah, got to give her credit too.
Yeah,
She's at at her age and with her son, so good for her.
Yeah. So balance. Okay.
Yes.
There was more questions.
Will all negativity be eliminated in the higher realms? I don't think it's
It
there,
can't
is it?
even. It's already
It can't
gone.
be
And
there. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
mm-mm. um,
Axel's channel. He's in X, correct?
yeah, X, and then on Telegram.
Okay.
So and then uh, I already said what his demeanor of how he is and all that stuff, and just reminds me of
Hmm.
Yeshua's demeanor too. Uh, on looking at life a different way, but then I think people think with spiritual warriors, uh, it's that love and light stuff, but there's times that we have to step up and be blunt about things, and
Hmm.
yeah. So it's called to the mission, whatever it is, and it's like, okay, I'll do it, I'll say it, and he's called to say it when he needs to say it. Um, so good energy. Uh, I still would like to talk to, was it Haskell? I'd love to sit down
Let's
with,
talk about life.
yeah. Um, and
I think you've even mentioned it on a show.
I have mentioned it,
You
but that would
wanted to,
be
yeah. I don't think
an
he's ever
interesting one
responded.
to
Hmm.
have a conversation and see what Spirit says. See through it.
Right.
That would be another interesting one.
Right.
Yeah.
Another question for you. What will happen from now until the inauguration? How
Creativity, new Chevron could be implemented instead of sat in the back on the right side there, not
Hmm.
having anything to do with it, and
Okay.
just put aside. But yeah, I the floodgates are going to start to pour.
Hmm.
Um, um, and like again, pay attention to money flourished in economies,
Hmm.
and you're like, where are we getting all this money? You're already seeing corporations just completely dismantle.
Right.
Um, I mean, and evidence, go through the mall, you know, um, it's really funny to drive and go into a city. This is when you know you're at a balance point of, is those places don't even entice you. It doesn't even affect you. I just drive through because it's just not there. That just
Hmm.
tells you that that whole thing's turned off.
Yeah.
You're thinking, you're not thinking to grab something or get anything, and just don't don't care.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, they have to go through that anyway.
Right.
There's the pulling the band-aid off quick, which is law is going to happen. There's no it's not going to be delivered to your house or whatever. Um, but what I'm saying that because that's a different withdrawal too, going through that
Right.
too. But it takes time to see getting out of your house, driving to work or doing something and not being convenient. You just stay on track of where you got to go because they depend on that. So, um, and I've said that about Florida and North Carolina. Watch the money, watch
Hmm.
the buildings, watch how fast things get built up, but look for advancement on homes. Because these houses and how they're built, no, it's not going to fit the future.
Right. Well, with everything burning down too now, people are going to need new houses. It's
He's a
Speaking of that,
chain. It's just someone's talking about Pascal. He's a chain smoker, drinks Coke.
well, that's the wrong drink.
Yeah, well, I just want to
Oh,
talk to him.
right.
When I say I want to talk to him, it's just everybody knows I just want to talk to him.
That's it.
Um,
We have another question. Someone's in Connecticut, and it's burning, and so is New Jersey into New York, and apparently the deep state setting fires on their way out. Do you see the culprits being caught and stopped?
I think they already know, and you need to ask yourself the question: is it them,
Hmm.
or is it as we stand in the fire and watch it burn? 3D has to go down.
Right.
It's like, so you have to look at it in two different realities. Because we, again, get told what it is, pull back right away and analyze it. And for those many fires, which is going to start, as it, all of it has to be burned to the ground to a certain point.
Right.
So I wonder if they were created all overnight in the middle of the night. Everybody was asleep.
Don't know. It's
Wonder why they were
interesting. Yeah. Let's see. Do you think Social Security will be increased and the disabilities
Yes.
for those coming in? Okay.
I don't think there's going to be any limitation on what they deserve,
Hmm.
the amount that they deserve. Plus, about in tiers. I think that's one of that, and the veterans should be the first ones.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a good amount.
Okay. Thank you.
Something they don't have to worry about, as in the amount.
Hmm. Me, guys, just scrolling. Will the White House be replaced?
Gutted, cleansed, dismantled. I would tell anybody right now who would want to stay there.
Mm-mm.
Who would want to be in that place by yourself? No.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be there.
Mm-mm. It's not worth it in any way.
Even
That
years.
again is the symbolism that has to be dismantled.
Right. It's going to take a lot to cleanse it, too. All that whole area.
Well, I'm just telling you, bring in a bunch of natives. A long time ago, I told you they need to have
Oh,
a
yeah.
sweat lodge outside the White House because let me tell you, they can burn something pretty quick. And I've seen their bonfires, and trust me, it works.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Yeah, people are not dreaming.
Right. Do you know how the Vatican is going to be dealt with?
Another White House situation. The same scenario of dismantling
Mm-hmm.
process, but you got to deal with evil in a different way. You got to be careful with that one because I'm going to tell you, they have to be very careful because those type of walls, those type of memories, that holds an energy. You don't know the power behind it. You don't know what's hiding in it. So they got to be looking at this in a futuristic way of being able to take care of it or dismantle it. And this is the thing, evil is very good at making things personal, and they really have to have a higher conscience in there to handle that situation. Then you have to look at the ground after everything's gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's many phases with that one.
Right. Thank you. And obviously there won't be, like, where the White House was, that won't be a new White House. The new White House will be somewhere else. Okay.
Who would want to build on that? I just want to
Right.
know.
Do you know where the new one would be? Possibly.
Texas?
Okay.
Or I don't think it'd be in Nevada. Could be North Carolina.
Okay. Interesting.
Could be Canada. Because that's changing too. In the way that we understand that. Oh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the guidelines. So I'm expecting when those guidelines come out, like posting on how things. This is the thing when you're getting society's taking care of society, and those guidelines come out. I mean, you're going to hear people complain about how they can't just run with everything. They just, um, but this is the start of changing society the way it's got to be able to trust it again, doing the right thing again. And then they have to test it and show it's like you're not going to be able to use this for anything illegal.
Right.
No, sorry.
Here's another one. Let's see. Oh, of course, I just lost it. The humanitarian funding for projects. The money that comes in for that, are they loans? Or is that something where they need foreign currency?
I already believe when you go to, I'm going to tell you exactly what Spirit said.
Thank you.
They said when we go to the distributing centers, and this is when it was described to me on when someone presented that they didn't need all this paperwork. And Spirit said to me, "Don't you think we already know what you want to do?"
Mm-hmm.
So those, I think those questions are going to be asked, but they already know the answer to them. So I don't believe that I know paper form, I believe, is going to disappear.
Okay.
In every way. Look how long that's been around.
How many trees we've lost to it too?
Huh?
How many trees we've lost to
I
it?
know.
We need the trees.
Jesus, wait. Use that. Anyway, but I mean, in many ways of things changing. I mean, they presented, and they were the way I sat in front of seeing this light, and then I really believe that they know everything about us since we've been here, our path, or where we're going, because they said that in my head one time. Don't you think we know everything? Don't you think we know everything you've been through, the test you've been through? So I'm going to be curious, the first person who ever goes through that transformation. And it's not because they said it has nothing to do with the banks being involved in the situation anymore. So that has to do with the quantum system and the higher conscience and how that system is linked in. It's not can't
Mm-hmm.
can't corrupt it in any way. So I think a lot of people will be back, sitting back going, oh, you saw that? Oh, you know, oh, shoot.
If
You know,
people only knew, right?
oh, yeah, that's going to be different, right? Um, so, you know, when they say you're, what's the Christians, they bring out to, you know, you're judged, you know, looking at an advancement of, hey, we've already seen all that. We already know your whole path. We know where you're going, what you're going to develop in, where your soul resides, and what it needs to do. So I say to all the humanity people that want to think that there's a third person involved in that situation, I don't think so.
Okay.
So don't give your information away.
So technically, they really wouldn't need to do anything until they're already going to the whatever the new word for bank would be, redemption center, whatever they're going to call them, and they would get information there on what they're supposed to do, no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Soul contract distributing. There you go. Spirit just said that.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
That's a good one. We have to write that down.
Yeah. Because that's literally what it's about, right?
Right.
So the thing is where we're all developing, going into. I mean, let me tell you, you know, I've been emotional lately with, you know, feeling that happiness and all that stuff, um, and we're all going to be so humbled by things, and that's the way we're supposed to be, because it's an end of an era of carnage, uh, pain, suffering in a different way, and waking up in the morning and feeling relieved instead of stressed by carrying the load. I talked to a woman today, and it's just getting up every day, and at the age that they're at and carrying the load, it's just not fair. It's
Right.
survival.
Okay.
So, should be interesting.
Right. Got a couple more questions. Do we still need to be in our houses at night because of the creatures coming up from underground? You still having the underground things come up?
I think it depends on the location, honestly.
Okay.
I think they would know, they would warn you, they would, I think it depends on the location.
Okay. Thank you. Do you think RFK Jr. will be eliminating the chemtrails and fluoride this year?
Yes.
Thank you. Good to know.
Spirit says.
Thank you. Now, with these changes of having cleaner air, having the fluoride gone, having the cleaner food, all these things that are messing up our pineal gland and getting it calcified, all of a sudden, everybody has this access of the good stuff and nothing to stop it. Is everybody going to start waking up even faster,
Yes.
whether they like it or not?
Right.
Okay.
You visualize, you see things you can't deny
Okay.
on your own wavelength of conscience. I mean, um, I think that's, you know, where, and the big part of it was like I said, with the healers, you know, because they have this content energy of leading, being in podiums of light and leading people in their direction when that they don't know. They're like, what happened? Why am I, why am I seeing this? And that's where they said that they're going to be an important part of the history and
Mm-hmm.
a passageway to the next process. So, and then there's still a lot out there that people know they're healers, that they know that they're supposed to help, they know they're supposed to serve, and they're still suppressing it. We're at a stage where it's like, no more suppression. We need
Right.
you. It's time for you to step in line in that process.
Right.
So, right, Chief?
Right. I hear you. Oh, here's a quick. We haven't heard of this for a bit. Anything new on what's happened or happening with the ruby red energy?
Hmm. Um, I believe I've said that's going to reappear, and they showed me two forms of that: a solid basis, and then an energy above. That's an important part. Uh, and they showed me a circle, a big red circle motion, almost like a fog, goes in a circle motion uh, in that creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, they said something about Arizona with that. So
Okay.
it's gonna be interesting, and not in a ground way, but in a higher uh, realm above us, the things would appear. Now, like I've always talked about the pink fog, pink, everything pink, and now it was like sending all these pink
Right.
everything in the sky. And I'm like, I'm getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, what I love about this is the ego is going to be completely gone. I think it's already. I think it's already happening.
It's yeah. I was gonna say I think
I
it's
do.
starting.
I
Yeah.
think it's dismantling. You know why? Because Hollywood is not there to feed that, and that's the ultimate ego. And now
Mm-hmm.
it's being dismantled.
Yeah. I think even with all that stuff going on, that I don't even want to say the name. Everybody knows it. I just don't want to add energy to it. But with those individuals who are starting to be seen for what they are in Hollywood, people are thinking twice before they're watching stuff. It's great.
I don't know when the last time I watched a show, or I don't know why I still have a Netflix account or Hulu because I don't watch anything.
Yeah.
So when everything goes down, it's just through. What are you going to do for 3 to 5 days? I'm like doing the same thing I do now. I just don't watch it.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Maybe I'll be able to actually read a book.
Yeah,
If I don't have internet for a couple of days, that'd be great.
right. It would. I mean, um, meditate in not that painful way, but going up angelics and connecting with it. That's the best time to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You got the time. I mean, not, and then you don't have to occupy your mind. You can't turn your phone on, as in what it's going to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Yep.
That's going to shock alone.
That's the other thing. Well, they have something, maybe the healing pods for these people who are addicted to their phones, even the little ones that are addicted to the screens. Because it's just not phones either. It's tablets. It's all that stuff.
That's an idea.
I mean, I don't. They just
Gaming.
all of it, right? They're gonna flip. I know my son's gonna flip.
I don't mind. Would.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not good.
Mm.
So, yeah, I find it interesting. Um, it's like one world detox. I mean,
Right.
It's
It would
screaming
be
from
it would be
continent
neat
to
if they
continent.
had it either on a game or actually in the phone where they just look at it and boom, they're detoxed and they don't need it anymore. That would be great.
But occupying yourself in a different way. We're going to, here's a question. Are we going to walk through the fire with faith, or is it get burned? So we're just not taking the churches with us. And you're listening to your own instinct. I've already talked about this. There is some biblical stuff that I apply only when Spirit says this is one is correct, this one is not. So you have to listen to your own instinct on when I use the word faith. You know, faith to me in that process is not religion.
No.
So that is a question that's pretty strong.
Right. Thank you. Nope. Well, the negative people, just negative people in general, reap their karma for bullying others. Roughly the people who are empaths. And
Well, they what?
here's the full question. Many of us are empaths, and the negative energy is still strong. People are being verbally attacked and without provocation. When will the negative people reap their karma for bullying us?
Well, okay, so once you I always say that whole situation on how that we get frustrated, we get annoyed by things, and then you give it to the light. And you imagine that parasite exiting with going that direction. And it's not, this is what's interesting about that word. When you give it away and it's not your responsibility, you always end up finding out how that actually affected that soul. It ends up showing you down the road, but you are not holding that inside you, waiting for that situation. You give it to spirit, you give it to the light, and let them show you how it was handled.
Very good. Thank you. Let's see. It was just announced that Trump won Arizona and won the 7 battleground states. Spent from the recount. Of course.
Huh. Isn't that interesting? Because let me explain something. Let's go back to 2020. In 2020, there was a fight over that whole situation in Arizona. It's just interesting. And they had to go back and forth. It's telling you what's really going on.
Mm-hmm. Here's a good question. They say, I have ADHD and dyscalculia, and I see a video where they say ADHD are special.
Let me tell you.
There you go.
Squirrel.
I had to give you that one.
Squirrel. Squirrel. Squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I want to talk about this in a way. Sometimes it is so complex because, but in such a normal way into your own mindset that your brain is going, or your conscience is going several directions, and you're completely understanding this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So If that answers your question, yeah. I think partners have the hardest time with. It's not only that we do not have patience
Hmm.
for slow answers because this mindset speed is. Oh, and then
Right.
uh, if it's slow, uh, our brain, our we're trying to slow down. It's very hard, and then the squirrel comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's and then that's why I think, like I said, for me, other languages like symbolism going down and reading it down seems normal to me. English, and the reason why going across feels annoying to me is it's almost like your brain's ahead of the game going, can we just get to the whole sentence and explain it quickly? That's the
Right.
way our brains. And so one symbolism language seems so much easier,
Mm-hmm.
with like that pace of it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole English format, and even Spirit says it's not the spiritual language. It's annoying,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like it's uh, right brain people in that way. We just want to get to the process right away, and then you have the analytic side of people, and they have no problem doing that and going at that pace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
So would you say in a way that people who have ADHD and things like that, it's might be easier for them to understand either light language or easier to
symbol.
transition to telepathy?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
because they're
Yeah.
already at that speed. They're already at that um, analyzing in a different way. And this is the hardest thing. And I'm literally telling you on when I'm physically in front of someone, like physically, and they go into a conversation. This is the hardest thing: is being in front of a person, and I'm talking about physically, um, and having a conversation and sitting down and knowing 2 seconds where they're going to go with it. Then you'll have to let them finish the whole conversation. We're on pins and needles. So then the mind goes somewhere else, comes right back and goes, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was over here already. And it's just the way, oh, God, it is that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not it doesn't mean people with ADHD, um, when they're having a conversation with other people and people think they're or being rude or insensitive, it's just like, no, it's like chalkboard does sometimes. We have to get to that other space really quick. It's hard
Right.
sometimes. And then certain vocal vibrations affect us quickly too.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Again, this is public. When will full public disclosure occur? Only 10% of the world are awake.
Really? Wow.
I know.
Hmm. Guess there's gonna be a lot of ships.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ugh, that hurts my head. Um,
Sorry.
when I believe it, we're at a point after you, like I said, your instinctive listening to the information, your gut is listening to it, you know it's the truth, and you still deny it. There's nothing we can do.
Mhm. Right.
No one can do. So
Mm-hmm.
we all make a decision, free will,
Right.
and we can choose. They can choose to be in denial.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing: when someone's making that decision, how do you deny suffering as to see a child?
Right.
If that doesn't affect you, then you have already gone. You're already lost.
Mm-hmm.
We have no reason for you at that point because we can't trust you to even take care of or have instinct of some innocent soul that is suffering in such a crucial way, and that does not come into the concept of being important. That's not a person I want to be around or even have a conversation with.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Dismantling of the soul. I want you pray. It's unforgivable.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's what it's down to. Bearing witness of the suffering,
Mm-hmm.
have knowledge of the suffering, and not caring, and that kind of witnessing that or is excruciating. But it's also, I'll give you an example, that people like animals and the hearing the pitch of the sound of suffering of a dog. It root hits
Mm-hmm.
you in the same way.
Yep.
Some of us would take the impact. Some of us would suffer for them, and then a lot of us, if we were there, if we had the advantage of being there, um, there's no way we'd allow that child to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right.
So if they deny that type of truth, they're already gone.
Right.
So new.
Thank you. Or this is sort of a question, but not quite. Did you hear that Trump is bringing back the large bell for Notre Dame and plans to bring bells in all states?
I think Spirit told us about that. But you know what I'm saying? And Signal, Telegram, I've been talking, and then I didn't have the information. I got it from them. Demons hate bells. They hate them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I put them in the house. I got 2, 3 of them. Put them in the house,
Yep.
put them in the car. I mean, literally right now, people need to invest, go to a secondhand store, get bells.
Yep.
They hate it. Okay. And I think something also has to do with, Spirit showed me, with gold on the uh, particle on the edge of the bell, too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yes, bringing them back, digging them up, putting them where they need to be. Um, okay, just imagine those bells all ringing at the same time. Do you know what that would do to a
Wow.
demon?
Oh yeah.
It's like having one stand in the light. It was, remember when we talked about the Spirit, what he said about incineration, right? It
Mm-hmm.
and maybe this is part of the how it will incinerate, because the sound and the frequency, and that they cannot breathe in that light.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about this. They cannot breathe in it. So if I had to tell anybody right now, get a bell for I've been talking about for years and years and years. Get a bell, use the bell, ring the bell.
Mm-hmm.
That is the best thing you can do.
Right.
And if you can't find it, go to a secondhand store. They have them.
And
They
if you're in a
use
spot
them
where
for
you don't have
farms to call
one, right?
in for dinner and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just schools. Ding ding. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's just way looking at the situation. I mean, um, they'll have nowhere to go, nowhere to hide.
Right.
And then you look at the angelic presence, which I've did the picture on the horns. Another um, process that they call in. So yeah, I mean, I hope it drives them to the surface if there's anything left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're in a spot where there's no bells and you can't get one, if you have a phone and you have a
Yeah.
music app, whatever, Spotify, there's bells, or YouTube, there's bells.
YouTube has it too.
Mm-hmm.
On the bell, it has 4 or 5 hours of bells. So anything you can use,
Right.
YouTube's and access to it. That would be interesting if he chose a time upon this earth, on this realm, as Spirit's saying right now, to choose that time to ring those bells.
Mm-hmm.
And we all are in line to ringing that in at the same time. Whew, that's
Yeah,
powerful.
that would be, yeah. Yeah.
They would want to run off this planet very quickly. Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Great. Thank you. Yeah.
So,
I have a bell in each room. I hear you, Adventure. I do too.
right. So, the best way to do, you want to bring in the golden age, ring the hell of it in a
Mm-hmm.
different way. I don't know how they should have songs with bells. They should and sync it together. I mean, you want to clear it out quick. It'd be the best thing.
Mm-hmm. Bring back the bells. Yes. Alrighty. Do they hate tuning forks also?
Yeah, I guess that's tone with it. Um, when I do a clearing for the house, I mean that's the first thing, or anything that's really dark in the situation. I start from one end, and then what you'll notice with bells when you use them, uh, the lightness that carries, it's very piercing and it's through. When you're getting into an area that's heavy, I've had it where I've rang and it's just very dull. They don't want that. So by the time I get done and you go through that whole house and you clear everything out, wherever that space is, then you can hear. But also, I've seen that light come in a natural way after that happens.
Wow.
So I would be interested in with that type of frequency ringing through the earth with that much. Would that bring in a light or activate something?
Oh, yeah, I know. That'd be interesting. Hmm. That's like a global challenge now.
Let's do it, guys. Come on, get those bells and just pick a time and let's ring them out.
No kidding.
Well, you can tell that I'm not going
Uh,
to sleep in the night. Don't be giving them ideas.
hey, I
Um,
know.
yeah, I mean it's a um, it's
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it for a while.
All
So
right. Alrighty. Let's see.
we'll do 2 more questions. We're on at
Two more
9:30.
questions. Ma'am, okay. Keep going. Everyone's talking about bills.
Yeah. So now I want everybody to go out and share
I know, huh?
and and okay, like YouTube. That's the one I use, and just use it. And you know what? It's interesting. If you go to a public place and you do that, or if you're somewhere public and they get irritated quick, why you ring that bell? Is that
Mm-hmm.
annoying your demon? I'm just saying a clear sound like that, a crisp sound shouldn't affect. Anyone.
Right.
Go do that at a Walmart.
Oh no.
That's a good place to start. You can imagine doing
Oh,
it at a Walmart. Oh, I
oh my.
know. Go to a Catholic church and go see what happens there.
Oh my
I
goodness.
wonder what would happen there.
I don't know. I'd
A
rather
clear
not go
bell.
to one of
So
those
get
things.
everybody go to churches now and go ding dong ding dong. I'm just
Oh,
saying, find these places where you're like, I know there's a demon there. I know that
mhm.
they reside there. So I'm going to go in there with my bell and see how annoyed they get.
Right.
Um,
Funny.
I
Okay.
would
Here's a
be.
here's a another question. Are we still
The
going to
DMV
live
is a good one too.
the what? Oh, the
DMV.
DMV. Yeah, I know. Are we still going to live around bad snakes, sharks, reptiles in general, spiders, bad bugs, and other predators?
Yes. But it might be at a different conscience because it's all in tune to the creator at the same vibration.
Okay.
I wonder. We should make a list of areas that we should be ringing bells at.
Everybody will be ready with us.
Everybody will be in front of the White House. They're all bringing their bells.
That's it.
Just saying.
Uh, okay, what's this? Okay, this is interesting. It's for both of us. I could say no for me though. Have you experienced a portal ever?
Yes.
It, and did you go inside of it? That's all I have there. But
No. I was
that's
told
up
not to.
to you. Okay. And I could say I have not. So there we go. Uh, let's see. I think that's it, unless someone pops
I
something
definitely
up.
observed it and felt it. And it's a test.
Oh yeah. Okay. So if someone does see a portal, but they don't have that ability to get uh, information as to whether or not to go through the portal, what should they do?
Well, if you don't have the knowledge to do that, it's like don't open doors you can't shut.
Okay.
That's the number one key. So you need to, send me a message. I mean, pictures. I always go by pictures the first way. That's how I
Mhm.
evaluate things and the energy that you evaluate. Don't push it because
Mhm.
there could always be a negative process where they're like, go ahead, pass that threshold. We would love it,
Mhm.
and that's they would. Um, so you gotta be well informed and. This is the thing, the negative works off. It always works off your personal issues and your weakness. It
Mhm.
uses that as an advantage. And that's why when I tell people for that do exorcism and all that, I'm like, you better get out of that left brain and of anything to do with what's happening in your life because they're going to use every advantage they can with that. You have to actually get into a different conscience that is just a stillness about you that you're expecting whatever they're going to throw at you on that
Right.
process. That's that warrior. And that's just For an example, if they were actually going to cleanse, say the White House, that would be the first tool that they would use. Because
Mhm.
they're like, all we need is dialogue, and all we need to know is their past, and all we need to trigger the humans. So that's the whole process with that is it is a different conscience that you have to stay in, and if you stay in a conscience that you cannot be messed with in that way, it's not worth the investment
Mhm.
into you because you are not going to be triggered or your personal issues are not going to open a door which they want. They're not going to invest. This is always with demonic. They don't want to invest in something that's a lot of work. They
Right.
need to know your flesh tools they can use against you and form against you. So, um, and then the shofar horn, I like that one too. But and to identify, a powerful
Right.
word, as I teach that in class. Identify.
Mhm.
It loses its composure because it does not know what you are seeing or know its form.
Great. Well, thank you. What
And I
time are
think
we on?
we're
Oh,
at a
we've gone over
point.
2
So,
hours again. Again, 2
yeah, we said
We didn't know
we're just going to do an hour, right?
we didn't know we were
Guess,
gonna make 2 hours tonight. Oh my goodness. Could barely talk earlier.
yeah, I don't accept
Goes
that
fast.
label either. I say high advanced mindsets. Squirrel. Hey, that's the name.
There you go. Okay.
I'll tell you guys a story about that. Hold on one second.
Go ahead.
When I was young. This is the energy was so strong with me. So I was overly stimulated so much, trying to come into that and understand what it is. I would fidget with my arms because the energy was so overwhelming. Because I had to figure out what to do with it on my own. So, and my mother would be like, "You have to stop, fidgeting because it's over the stimulation of what it does to your system."
Mhm.
It's, there's not at that age the type of calmness. Um, that word didn't mean anything to me at that time. What it meant is like at night when I crashed and I was asleep, maybe 7 years old, and I would crash and I would crash hard because it would go all day and then you come out of it. But yeah, there is an energy that works with it that's overstimulated with it, and your body reacts from that. And that's why, when I see parents and they say, just settle down. I'm like, you know how hard it is? You know how hard it is to sit in a pew at a church and listen to a vibration that drives you nuts, and then what do? Oh,
Uh,
and most kids that have that at that age and are in that situation at the church are like, it is time to do something that annoys everybody.
mhm.
Just
Right.
saying,
Right.
you get bored in a different way, and you have to the mind. It's not their fault.
Right. Yep. Squirrel.
My mom just stopped taking me to church.
Well, that's the good thing because that forget it.
Right. So,
Wow. Alrighty.
I mean,
So I
so
get to
I
get
hope everybody takes this information, applies it, and then for the week, I'm looking for guidelines. I'm looking for film strips to start. Um, but I want, you're seeing the the ones that are in charge of the whole situation with nation to nation standing by each other, like we're talking about, um, these people that are leading this, there is a consistent language that's coming together with all of them, and they're all aware of each other. That layer of the ones that were feeding it off of money are gone, and you can see the ones that are feeding it for the truth, and they're changing, exchanging the same language of information that you're seeing, and you feel it. So, so it's interesting.
Cool. Well, thank
So,
you.
so that's what I have to say. Pay attention to those things right now, and this energy today, and hopefully change
Yeah,
some.
we're a little off today. That's okay. We made it through.
Get us out of this timeline.
Right.
That's what I say. So you guys follow the light. Buy the bells. Ring the bells. Bell, 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 bell.
Right. All of them.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. Good night. Stay in the light.